Welcome to another. Good morning and welcome to another episode of the 10,000 Club. Today I'm here together recording just one day early due to schedules. So fun to have Leo with me this morning, and as well as Brenda Wolthuis. Brenda is a new agent of ours from Kalamazoo. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi, thank you.
Good. Well, it's an exciting time here. We're glad that Leo is with us. He's going to be directing traffic a little bit today. We've had some fun with Brenda, helping her navigate her real estate life here at 5-Star Real Estate.
So Brenda, how are you? Good?
I'm great. I'm good.
Right.
How are you?
So don't be nervous. We're just going to have a nice little conversation. And just as kind of preliminary stuff, you are new to real estate. But why did you start, what got you into real estate? Or did you start, I think you started before and then paused it? So why don't you give a little background?
I have a little interesting background, yeah. So for me, I can't remember a time when it wasn't gonna be real estate for me. I've always been interested in it as far back as literally I can remember from childhood. I was too nervous to take on a fully commissioned position. So I actually took a job in property management because I knew they would pay for me to get my license, because if you're a third-party property manager, so managing property for somebody else, not your own, you need to be licensed in the state of Michigan. So I went through the course with them back in 2007. And then I had a really great career in property management for the last 16 years. It was very, I learned a lot. It was very rewarding. And it ended up being a much better fit than I ever could have imagined. And then it just became time for my family and I to make this transition. And so I did some research and linked up with 5-Star.
Wow.
That's great.
What type of property management did you do? Did you do commercial buildings, condominiums?
It was all residential multifamily. So I managed apartments from Big Rapids to Detroit. I've had Greenville, Grand Rapids, Kentwood, Wyoming, but mostly Kalamazoo, Portage, Richland area here, but all multifamily apartments. Yep.
So everyone who knew you, like your sphere, as we call it, they kind of knew you were in real estate and property management. What did you do to tell them about their transition? How'd you get the word out about this as a new launch of a different type of real estate?
Yep. I utilize social media a lot. So, I did Facebook posts. I did Instagram. The first month or so in January, when I was not very busy, I scoured my Facebook and Instagram lists and kind of broke them down and made up a really nice mailing list. I was able to do some sleuthing online and find a bunch of addresses. And so everybody that is in my sphere, if you will, got a postcard from me this month. And so I did a huge mass mailer. I have given business cards to friends who are in the service industry that I know talk to people frequently. I've put my business card on billboards, I mean, you name it. But mostly talking to people, just chatting, letting people know I'm pretty involved in our church. And so putting the word out that way as well.
Did you have was it an announcement campaign, or was it like, hey, I'm doing this?
Yeah, so I put it out there that I was leaving my last position and making this transition. It was, I launched my Facebook business page and kind of just promoted that a little bit too.
That's really smart, and probably has served you well right away.
It really has, yeah.
So every person you run into now will bring that up, right? They're talking to you about real
estate. Every person I've run into, it's the first question they ask. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember
it's kind of interesting being a new agent and letting them know I've never technically done this before. So having people try and trust you for that first transaction is a little difficult or nerve-wracking. But they do.
Yeah.
I have a track record doing, long-term. 16 years at one company is, that's abnormal, I'd say, nowadays, especially.
No, it sounds like that served you well because it was related to real estate. And all the service people, and you have vendors you can contact. And so you are what we call a well-sphered person.
Yeah.
And now you're activating that sphere. And that is, just as a point of encouragement, Brenda, that is one of the ingredients for having success, and having success early. But you did say it was, can you tell us a little bit about, it is a little different doing sales versus, I mean, it's similar language and there are contracts, but there's a big learning curve. So what has helped you the most tackle this kind of thing?
So at first, in that January month, when I really didn't have much going on, I was leaning heavily into the 5-star YouTube channel,
Okay.
watching tons of the 10,000 Deal Doctor. There was a section where they were interviewing other agents. I was really interested in those. But I didn't just listen, I actively listened. So I was writing, I have a notebook, taking notes the whole time, trying to absorb that information. I've been reading quite a bit. If there's an opportunity for me to go and do something, I'm going. So if there's a coffee hour, I'm there. The G-Car market update, I'm going. Con Ed in person, I'm going. I could watch it on my computer, but I'm going to go and join that group and be around the people that are talking the talk and walking the walk, and get to know some of those people. I'm active on the Facebook groups that 5-star has available. Even if I'm just reading back through, I've scrolled a lot on those pages. But primarily, I would say that for this first transaction, I've leaned really heavily into the broker support team. You each have something pretty unique and different that you bring to the table, and I've definitely leaned into that.
You've met with me, obviously. I helped out
in person. I've Zoomed with Tracy, and I've talked with
Cindy.
Cindy, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, what I like is that you're actively engaged in real estate. You're all in.
I am.
And you know, from the moment you let everyone know that you were there, because no one's going to know you're there if you don't tell them. So, and I remember being told that, like, you need to tell people, because you immediately, they know that they think that you know more than they do. So you become their pro immediately. So that is really, as I like Leo said, it's an ingredient to your success. It's one of the things you need to be doing.
Another thing just another encouragement, Brenda, for you is that when I've interacted with you, you are taking notes. When we walk through different CMAs and net sheet we talked about, but you're like totally engaged, and you've already, before we talk, every question you've had, you've tried to find the answer first, or go, hey, I'm here. So talk about how you approach like that. Yeah,
you know, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I think that your time is very valuable, and I don't want to bother you either. And so I want to come to the table with something. I've been trying to figure this out, but I'm stuck here, or I want to confirm that this is the right route to go, or is there a better way to do X, Y, or Z? I just try to be active, you know, taking notes, going back to the resources that I have available, the training information that I got when I joined G-Car, and kind of digging around on my own as well, exploring those services like Flex and RPR, and just getting my hands dirty. Otherwise, I'm never going to learn how to actually do it.
No, that's good.
Good.
Tracy,
So
you want to ask her about her transaction?
Oh, yeah. So, well, let's ask where it came from. So you had your first transaction.
Yes.
I think I know a little bit about where it came from, but I'd love if you would share it with others about how you got your first transaction.
Yeah. So my previous employer, I gave a 6-week notice to. So during that 6-week time, you know, I was trying to prepare to get people involved with what I was doing. And there was a couple that came to church, and they don't typically come to our church, but I know them from Facebook and through some of their relatives that I know quite well. And I knew they were moving. He had gotten a new job. And so I just reached out and I said, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing at the beginning of the year. I'd love to sit down and talk to you and see if we're a good fit, if you're going to be selling your home. I'm not even sure if you're planning to sell or what your goal is. And she said, yeah, sure. So we went home, and that afternoon she texted me and said, hey, I talked to my husband. It's cool. You can sell our house.
Nice.
Okay.
Just like that.
Okay, let's do this. I hadn't even gone through, I didn't have access to the MLS. I technically hadn't onboarded with 5-star yet. It was a real blessing to have somebody willing to trust me in that first step. And it's been wonderful.
Yeah. So essentially they knew you,
Yeah.
they liked you, and they trusted you.
Yeah.
And they knew that you were new. So
Yeah.
in spite of the fact that you were new, what they knew about you is that you were a kind, honest, trustworthy person. And because those elements were already present in the relationship you had with them, that got your foot in the door. So really, so that's a testament to the human being that you are. So,
Thank you.
So from there, you've got your first deal. You haven't even onboarded.
I know.
You don't know how to use the MLS. Oh,
Yeah.
This sounds good.
I know.
What
So
happened?
I went to their house and I walked through. I'm like, we're just going to kind of wing this. I have absolutely no idea, but they knew that. And so I got a feel for what the house was like. And in January, they knew that I had a training class that I had to take with G-Card to get access to the MLS, to get lock boxes and all that stuff. I just let them know right up front, this is where it stands. And then I actually had a vacation planned immediately following that class. So the class ended Friday and we left for vacation on Tuesday of the next week. So I didn't even have time to do anything with them before that. So the plan was that when I got back from our vacation that had been planned for the previous year, I would launch right into that with them. And that's what we did. There was a hiccup, I was counting on somebody to be helping me through that ended up not being available. But I leaned into broker support. I called, we got it figured out. Cindy helped me do a CMA that very first night and we just got the ball rolling. But it was, all the things you don't know that you don't know. Doing all of the putting it into the MLS, and Leo walked me through that process and taught me some tricks and tips, and even putting a lockbox on the door. It's nerve-wracking. You've never done that before. So.
Well, excellent. So what was unique? I remember when we first talked, the home had been on the market for a minute. So how many days was it on the market, and what was your interest in this home like? And what was your own expectation? Right. The neighborhood you were in was an Allen Edwin development. I think it had maybe 6 or 7 phases to it. Was it something like that?
There's several phases. So
several phases to a development, but
there
a
were some
development
currently under construction. So we were competing with new construction. There's half that's involved in an HOA that has access to a pool and part that isn't. So I had to learn about HOAs pretty quick and how to get information about that. The house, we listed it. It was, we agreed 10 days after the sale or after the listing. So it wasn't too long, but when that 6-7 day mark hit, I was starting to get nervous. For sure.
Yeah. And I think that's when you and I talked, and we worked through some advice that you'd be giving to your sellers. You kind of walked me through the house, and there was one thing that I clued in on pretty quickly in our conversation, was something unique and different about this home that wasn't present in any other homes that were in that area. And that was what?
There was no first floor bathroom.
Right.
So all of the bathrooms were on the second level.
So it was unique. It was unique.
Most of the other homes in that layout have a half bathroom on the first floor, but they have a pantry instead.
Yep, exactly. So it made it a little bit different in terms of trying to find a buyer who would be willing to say yes to a home that didn't have that powder room on the main floor. But this one had the access to the pool that some of the other houses in that neighborhood did not. So I remember working through those things with you, and it was really good conversations. I think you were at that point a little bit nervous, because you had been on the market, I think 8 or maybe 9 days at that point. You were just getting ready to go into a weekend, and lo and behold, what happened that weekend?
Yeah, I got an offer on Saturday night, and I held the open house on Sunday anyway, because I needed the experience of how to do that, and I didn't know what else might walk through the door. There had been other showings on the home, and I reached out to those agents and let them know I was going to be holding the house open on Sunday if their clients wanted a second look. And then we accepted the offer Sunday night.
So what I like about what she just said, Leo, was that she still held the open house so she could practice her craft. So she could stand and say, "Hi, I'm Brenda Wolthuis with 5 Star Real Estate. Welcome to 123 Main Street. I'm going to be down in the kitchen. Let me know when you're finished if you have any questions," whatever it is that you said.
Exactly.
But you were practicing. And the other thing you did that makes you a pro to me was you went back through your list and said, "I'm going to call these agents that showed my home and say, hey, I just want to let you know, as a courtesy to you, I know you're busy. You probably have a lot going on this weekend. I'm going to be holding this home open. If your clients want to come back for a second time, I'd be happy to do that for you." And that is a pro, okay? And you're letting your clients know, these are the kinds of things that I do for you, right? Because I'm working for you all the time.
Brenda, didn't you also do a price reduction?
I did. I reduced the price by $1,000. It wasn't much, but it was enough to get it reactive in that hot sheet. And I put it down from $275,900 to $274,900 with the thought that perhaps there's somebody who's capped their search at that 5,000, each 5,000 mark. So if they weren't going to look higher than 275, they might miss it, and they shouldn't. It was a home that was in that right area.
Can you tell us about when you did your CMA, and then you had a meeting with your clients about pricing the home, high, low? Can you tell us a little about how that conversation went? Because that was the first conversation about pricing.
Yeah. So obviously I went to Zillow and saw what they saw. I wanted to know what information they were getting. And they also were receiving a monthly update from their mortgage officer that lets them know the estimated value of their home. And they were willing to share that with me. So I could kind of see where their mind was, what they were expecting. And then I showed them the comps that I had run and where all of 3 of those numbers kind of fell into place. This is the number I'm kind of at. This is where the Zillow is. And this is where your mortgage broker says that perhaps you could be. And I let them know those are all, interesting numbers to think about. Of course, Zillow and the mortgage officer don't know the condition of your home. They don't know if you've kept it well, if you've not kept it at all. And so they're just guessing. Lucky for me, it was a nice home. They had done a nice job, but upgrades were limited. So we just talked through the differences in the prices. And thankfully, they weren't too far off. It wasn't like one was saying it's, 20 grand more than the other. But there was enough of a discrepancy there that they trusted me.
That's good. That's good. There's so many, Tracy, there's so many like pearl points just starting out in that little story, Brenda. I'm so excited for you. I really am. So you're doing all the right things, whether it's instinctively or intuitively. This is really exciting, and it worked for you. So
yeah,
you priced it, you had a price reduction, you had an open house, you timed those together. I know that. So that your open house was right after the price reduction. So that's a refresh. These are like nice nuances that realtors can learn from. So that's a testament to you you're really taking this on. So just take that encouragement and
thank you.
Keep doing that.
Yeah. So has the property closed yet? And where are you at in that process? And did you learn anything? It closes on Friday. Okay. Yeah. How were your inspections that you navigated? How did that go? Because I don't think I know what happened through that. But you're giggling, so I'm sure there's a story.
Well, it was going very, very smoothly until yesterday.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, but I meant the home inspections, like yes. When the buyer came through.
Yep. So the home inspection was pretty not noteworthy. I actually didn't even hear anything about that for a while. Same with the appraisal. I just heard back. Yep, looks good. But in the contract, it did specify that the sellers were responsible for the pest inspection, and I missed that.
Yeah.
And so I found out yesterday that had been missed, and talked to Leo, and we worked through it. And he actually encouraged me to call the home inspector that had already been to the house, which I never would have thought to do. I would have gone straight to a standard pest inspector. And he had actually already done one. It was just a little bit more money if I wanted the report, and I explained the process. And he said, actually, it's your first transaction. I'll just give it to you.
Wow.
So, I
And you
have
know why he did that?
as well.
He wants you to keep his business card, Brenda.
Exactly.
So
I'll take it.
he's a smart man.
That was a lead loss for him. Yep.
Yep. He said,
Well,
I'll just
that's-
send it over.
That's excellent. I love that. I love that. And that's not normal and customary,
Yeah.
you know, unless you're doing a VA or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I
or,
was surprised by it.
yeah.
Because I got the text from the buyer's agent and I said, oh my goodness, I could swear this was not on me. And I went back and like, oh, that was on me.
That's
But-
okay.
How-
You know,
did
Greg
you-
Carlson, Greg will always tell you to keep your checkbook handy for just these kinds of
I was-
opportunities.
I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you tell your clients about this? I'm interested because sometimes it's always a balance for me. Sometimes my clients want to know everything, but I like learn to pause to go, let's see how this works out rather than invite them into the stress of the moment.
Yes.
How do
I
you handle the
actually did
client?
not include them in the conversation. I
Okay.
didn't feel like since I was able to resolve it on my own and we didn't need access to the home or anything like that, I just took care of it.
Nice.
Nice work.
So that's great.
Nice work. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Friday you're closing. So
Yes.
what are your takeaways? This was your very first transaction. Tell us what your takeaways are from this entire experience.
Don't be afraid to talk to people. Let them know what you're doing. For me, it was a bit of a head game trying to stay positive that, I was doing the right things, that I had the resources available to me that I needed, and just reminding myself, what the process was and working through that. But to lean in to who is available to help me, because I am a solo agent. I didn't come in joining a team, which has its pros and cons. It's not right or wrong. There's definitely different ways to do it. So lean in when you need it. Yeah.
That's good.
Good. I like
That's
it. Well, thank you for being willing to share with
Yeah.
all of our agents today and in your story. And I know that, we're picking up little things you're dropping too of ways to encourage others. And you've no doubt encouraged a lot of people today.
Yeah.
Great, I hope
Thank
so.
you, Brenda.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
all
you.
of your help. Yes, definitely.
You're welcome.
All
So on to the next one.
Yes. Yes. I'm hungry for it.
Sounds great. Well,
right.
we're going to be gathering again in 2 weeks. I should know the date of when we're going to be gathering again. We're going to have another agent interview coming up. I don't want to say who it is because we haven't got a confirmation yet, but we're going to be looking to interview one of our teams and hear a little bit more about team structure and whatnot here at 5-Star Real Estate, and then talking about real estate etiquette. That's going to be another topic coming up. So Brenda, watch for those.
I will. I've been watching a lot of them.
So sounds great. Well, have a great day and thank you
Thank
again. Thank you, Leo.
Yep. Bye, Brenda.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.